mine in September of last year. So
Mhm.
a year and some change.
Mhm.
And I absolutely love it.
Oh yeah, that was one of the reasons why I did it, because it had gotten to the point where I would get these fainting spells in the shower trying to wash my hair, bend over, not realizing that your equilibrium is completely off. Because that's the thing, like my balance, my walk, my gait is completely different because of the MS. And so I was like, he kept hearing me falling in the shower.
Yeah.
So then all of a sudden he's like, I'll just sit here. I'm like, I'm gonna fall whether you sit there or not. Like, it don't matter.
It don't matter, right?
Like, I'm gonna get up. But so that's why I was like, let me see if I can do something else where it doesn't require me to have to do a whole lot to get going. Plus, I don't ever know what to do with my hair anyway.
Now, did your texture change at all because of any medication that you're on?
It didn't. Like, I have I was lucky because I have like a very soft braided hair, which is why it takes forever for it to lock. Like, you can tell when it's time for me to get a retie because
you're gonna be fuzzy.
It's gonna be fuzzy.
Yeah.
You're gonna see it untangle because it had, like, she had to put some work in.
Okay.
But I noticed like skin differences with different medications, appetite completely gone with different medications too. Not to mention I had had gastric like 15 years ago. And well, no, it's been long, almost 20 years ago. So you automatically don't get hungry.
Yeah.
Your stomach doesn't growl. So now if you're on medication that curbs your appetite, now you're just like, you might go all day and not think about eating.
You know, some battles don't show on the outside. No scars, no visible signs, no warning to the world of what someone is carrying within. But here on Chemo Glow, we understand something powerful. Just because you can't see it doesn't mean it isn't real. Welcome to Chemo Glow, where we share stories of resilience, truth, and the strength it takes to keep showing up. Because here's what we believe. The glow does not define me. I define the glow. Today's conversation brings us face to face with what many call an invisible disease, multiple sclerosis. A condition that impacts the body, the mind, and everyday life in ways most people never see. And for Black women, the story runs even deeper. Today we sit down with Erica Saunders Brower, a woman walking this journey with strength, honesty, and courage, to share what it really means to live, fight, and thrive beyond diagnosis. This is a story of resilience. This is a story of vulnerability. This is a story of redefining strength. This is Chemo Glow.
Welcome to Chemo Glow, where the glow doesn't define me, I define the glow. I am your host, Regina Jones. I am so grateful to have my guest today because we're going to talk about something that most people do not see. It's known as the invisible disease. Let's welcome our guest, Erica Brower. How you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm good. We've been talking beforehand.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, the producer had to stop us and say, okay, it's time. Well, we're going to be talking forever.
Exactly.
But I am so glad that you're here. And this is your first time talking about it, right?
Yes.
All right. How you feel about that?
A little nervous.
A little nervous?
Yeah, a little nervous. I've been nervous off and on since last night, but I think it's something that people need to hear.
Yeah.
And I'm hoping that maybe I can give something that can be useful to somebody else that's going through the same thing.
Well, people get confused when I say Chemo Glow, right? And what I'm trying to show people is that you're not defined by what you were diagnosed with. So your glow doesn't define you. You define what it looks like. And behind the scenes, we've been talking about this. So tell me a little bit about what you have been going through. You know what? Before we do that, because you're a little nervous about it, you like podcasting, right?
I do.
You listen to a lot of podcasts.
A lot of them.
All right. So let's talk about why you listen to those podcasts, and do they bring you peace, joy? Do they let you like settle in or get away from what's going on with you? What's the purpose of that?
I think I love the departure of that. And I've always loved to learn about different things and different people and what makes people tick, what makes people do what they do. And so my podcast, it varies on what I'm listening to. I listen to a lot of true crime, tons of true crime podcasts.
Really?
Yes. But that comes along with the territory of what my previous career was before I was diagnosed. And so listen to a lot of true crime. Messy is one of the ones I listened to. We were talking about that earlier. That's specifically about two women that have MS and how their journeys differ, even though it's the same condition, which that happens a lot with people who have MS. You'll find that there are tons of people who have it, or you don't find out other people have it until you say you have it. And they're like, oh, my mama has that, or my sister has that. my best friend. We've been friends since 1993, and I just found out 2 years ago that her mama has MS. She never once said anything about it.
Never once. And
Never
we're going
once.
to talk about that in the community, why we don't talk about it. So you were diagnosed. Now, you said you were at another job.
Yes.
And did you leave that job because of your diagnosis?
Yes, I had
Okay.
to. I was a United States probation officer,
Okay.
and I had a love-hate relationship with that career, but it was a successful career. It was something I was like, oh, I can do this. I only needed 8 more years, and I could retire fully, because you have to retire by the time you're 57. And I came in on it late, so I'm like, okay, I only got 8 years and I can get through this. But when I got diagnosed, my doctor was like, okay, your vision's off. The MS tends to mess with me as far as my symptoms. They are more related to like my hand strength, my legs, my vision, which are things you need to be able to do if you're working with, offenders or ex-offenders.
Yes.
And so she said that I can't authorize you to work anymore. Not in that field.
Your doctor
My
told
doctor
you.
took me out.
So your doctor took you out in a field
Yes.
that you said you were going to retire in.
Yep.
All right. So how did that hit you at that time?
I was devastated because I was like, I'm so close to being finished and I won't have to work no more because I don't want to work.
Yeah.
But I was just like, it was one of those jobs that I had to work really hard to get proficient at it. And so it takes years, because I was actually a criminal investigator. So I was a pre-sentence investigator. So I basically would do the investigations for the judges and help them figure out how much time to sentence someone to. And so it took a while to get to that point. And it's like you get right there. And as stressful as it is, I didn't want to leave.
You didn't want to leave.
But she felt that a lot of my issues with MS and what was causing me to have these symptoms so bad was the stress level of the job.
Oh.
So that's why she took me out of it.
So MS is you have flare-ups.
You have flares.
Tell me
stress related.
Tell me a little bit about when you first noticed that something was off.
It was I didn't pay it much attention. It was a few years in, and I just noticed that this leg felt different from this leg. So I'm like, it just feels like it's sleep all the time. Not the pins and needles, but like almost like a numbness, almost like you got Novocaine. And I just was like, oh, well, I'm old. And so I'm like, I just got a case of old, so it'll be all right. And one of my girlfriends, I mentioned it to her one day, and she was like, that don't sound right. You need to go find out what's going on with that. And that's what made me go to my regular doctor. And she was like, I'm going to send you to a neurologist. And as soon as I did like the first meeting with the neurologist, and this was during COVID, so it was a virtual meeting. And she said, based on what you're telling me, I think you have MS. And I'm like, okay, because I'm thinking that this is something that is hereditary, that it happens with your family and your lineage. We could not find any evidence that anybody on either side of my family has ever had MS.
So you're the first.
I'm the first.
Sometimes we don't like to be the first.
No. I really want to be in the background.
I want to be in the background. I am that background singer.
Yeah.
Well, it's known as the invisible disease. So when you were diagnosed, how did your family take it or didn't take it?
Exactly.
Okay.
Didn't take it. My parents and my family, my brother at the time, he was living at the time, and they didn't really look into what it was. As long as they couldn't see it, it doesn't exist. That's the thing. It's only when I'm having problems. But I love my parents, but they're the one-up you people.
Yeah.
I'm like, my legs are bothering me today. Mine too. I've had the same problem. And so I think it's just that it's the way that I think us as a culture sometimes will dismiss the things that aren't overt. And we don't like to tell people when we're sick.
Yeah, we don't.
We don't. We have family members that pass away and you don't realize that they were sick the whole time and you just didn't know it.
Yeah. When we were talking earlier, we were talking about how you didn't know that one of your dear friends actually was living with MS, or her
mother.
Her mother was living with MS. Didn't talk about it, right? And it's not until you say something that you connect.
Yes.
Well, who is your biggest supporter when going through this?
My husband.
Okay.
Because he gets stuck with everything. And he's been gracious about it and been very supportive. He was working on the road. And after I got diagnosed, he was like, well, I need to be home.
Yeah.
I need to be home just in case. And I'm like, no, it's fine. I'm fine. Because I'm so used to still pushing through things and doing it. And I do that now. I'm very guilty of pushing and pushing and pushing until your body will eventually tell you go somewhere and sit down.
I was going to say, it'll sit you down even if you don't want to be.
It does. Like, I'll take a nap in a second. And I was like, I'm not a person that takes a nap. I'm like, I can get through the whole day. And then all of a sudden I'm just sitting down and sleep because your body's tired. And I don't listen to it a lot of times. And that's the sad part. So he supports me in he does a lot of things around the house. He's there when I need to go to the doctor, if I need to get an MRI. He's always been very supportive with that. And when I had my first major flare, I lost the use of my legs. I couldn't write. I couldn't type. I couldn't go to work anymore. And he was right there every time, like walking me to and from the bathroom, picking up, making sure I had food. Because if he had to go to work, and I'm like, he put me in the bedroom, say, stay there, don't get up time.
Because he knows who you are.
Because he knows who I am. And he worried I'm going to fall. Or he would make sure I had people that stayed with me so that he could go do what he needed to do. And very big supporter.
Very big supporter. So we talked about your flare. Your flare. Is it flare? Flare up?
Flare.
All right.
It's like a flare up, but they always say you have a flare.
You have a flare. What was the hardest thing that you had to deal with knowing that, okay, your legs, your eyes, but having someone that you love as a caregiver, husband to caregiver, I've been there.
Yeah.
My husband was my caregiver. He did not miss one moment, but also you want them to miss a moment.
Yeah.
You want them to go and do something and leave you alone, right? Let's talk about that because it's hard for them to see us going through.
Yeah.
But then we need the moment to go through it because we're grieving a loss of something. Like I said earlier, sometimes people think you have to die to grieve. You can grieve in that moment. You have a job that you had to leave. You have a husband who had to come back from the road doing something he enjoyed. And now you are dealing with this disease.
Yeah. It is one of those things where you want him, I want him to be able to go do other things. I appreciate the fact that he's there and can be supportive, but it's like, I wanted to take a shower and not have somebody standing there watching to make sure I don't fall down. You know, I want to be able to do the things that I really enjoy doing, but can't do anymore. So, it's one of those situations where it's like, I know that he's having a hard time with a lot of it because, like I heard him telling his friends, like, I don't know what I'm gonna do. Something happened or what I'm gonna do. Yeah. And so then it makes me like, well, I'm supposed to be the one taking care of everybody. Because that's who I've always been. Yeah. And so it's hard for me to just get past that I can't do those things anymore. A lot of those things I want to do, I can't do anymore because to me, that defines who I am as a person, and especially with leaving the job. Yeah. And I recognize that I was more than just a probation officer, but it was so much of my time and so much work. And I'm like, I put in all this work for what? And so it is a grieving process because I grieved the loss of that job. I grieved the loss of that check that came with that job. Okay. And and I have a good job now, but it's not the same thing. It's complete departure from what I was doing before. And so it's grieving the freedom to do the things I used to be able to do. Yeah. And, and feeling like that super independent woman where he can be on the road and I can take care of everything I need to take care of here and I'm perfectly fine. And that's hard to have to rely on somebody to take care of you when you've always been the person that took care of everybody else. On that note, we are going to take a quick break and we're going to come back and we're going to continue talking about the emotional and the mental health impact it has on you when you're living with some people call the invisible disease. We'll be right back.
Quick question. Why aren't you showing up every day for your audience? Because brands that win online, they really aren't the biggest. But what they are is the most consistent. In fact, businesses that post weekly content see up to 66% more leads and 3 to 5 times more brand recall. People buy from who they remember. It's really as simple as that. And video is the fastest way to stay memorable. That's why we help clients build monthly content systems so they can stay present, stay relevant, and stay top of mind. So if you're ready to show up consistently without the stress, reach out to BroCode TV Production and let's build your content engine together.
Welcome back. We are going to talk about the emotional and mental impact it has on you, not just like your body, but we were just talking about your husband and your family members. So living with this chronic illness, it doesn't just affect, like we said, our body. What's some other things that affect from your mind to your mental to just everyday living? Because we can have those moments, but to live in it, oh my goodness, we wouldn't be able to push forward.
Oh, yeah.
So tell me what else it affects.
I think my inability to have my body do what I expected to do really does weigh on you mentally. It's because you want to do more. And so it's almost like this internal struggle where I'm literally talking to my legs and going, okay, get over it. Like, ain't nothing wrong with you. You fine. Come on, let's go. And so it's one of those things where you see, especially with MS, because people have varying, restrictions on them. And, from a couple of people I went to college with, I recently saw them and I knew the two of them had MS, so they've been diagnosed. One was, walking but not well. The other one was like bound to a wheelchair. And then you look at yourself and go, so why am I complaining about how I'm feeling? Look at them. You have to give yourself permission to be who you are in that moment and in that condition. I go to get my treatments and I'm sitting there and I tell my husband all the time, I'm walking in there. I'm driving myself there for my infusion. I'm getting in the chair myself. I'm driving myself back home when it's over. I'm looking at people that can't do that. I'm surrounded by people who can't do that, which is one of the reasons why my neurologist did not want me to get into a support group.
Oh.
She said, until you are solid in how you feel about how this condition is affecting you, the last thing you need is to be in front of a bunch of people who are, woe is me, down and out, making you feel guilty about doing well with it as opposed to how their bodies are handling it. Because everybody's body is different.
Yeah.
Because with MS, the lesions present on your brain and your spinal cord, and there's no rhyme or reason as to why. So I might have vision issues, but this lady over here just got problems with her right arm. This one over here just has imbalance issues where her gait's completely off. Or this one, it affects the spinal cord where they can't use their legs at all. So it's one of those things where it doesn't look the same for anybody.
It's totally different. And what kind of treatments? You mentioned treatments. What do treatments look like for you? And is it all the time? Is it only when it happens, when you have a flare? How does that look for you?
For me, I started out on a clinical trial because I was so early on in it. My doctor found a clinical trial that was where you're not getting a placebo. You're testing out a new medication versus existing medication. So either way, I would be medicated. And so that worked. I didn't think it was working.
Yeah.
But we realized that's when I had my major flare, was when I transitioned off of that medication, waiting to take Ocrevus, which is what I'm on now.
Okay.
Ocrevus has worked really well. I take it every 6 months. It's an infusion. So I'm there for a few hours at the infusion center here. And then I don't have to do it again for another 6 months. Now, in between that time, you can get flares based on like stress level goes up or anything can happen in your body. You get a cold, you get COVID, you get sick, and it can cause you to have these issues where you're seeing, oh, my writing's not as good, or I'm typing, but I'm miskeying things. And I've been typing for years. I should not miskey anything. And so then I go in and I'll contact my doctor and she'll sign me up for like 3 days of steroid infusions. And that's kind of like your go-go juice gets you going until you get to the next till you come up on your next 6 months. So usually I end up having to do an infusion. I do the infusion once every 6 months, and then I usually have to do a steroid infusion in between that.
So you it's safe to say that you advocate for your care.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Oh yeah. I'm not going to be, especially after I lost my brother. And I remember telling my husband, I said, I'm not going to die from something I can prevent. I'm not going to sit around and not take care of what I need to take care of. I'm not going to be afraid to go to the doctor. I'm not going to be afraid to reach out and tell them what's wrong, because I've seen too many family members that do that.
And the fact that you even did a clinical trial, because most times when we're in our community, the Black community, they shy away from clinical trials.
Oh, yeah.
And you advocated for your care and said, yes, I'm going to try this. And like you said, we feel like, oh, it's not working. But I know a clinical trial for the breast cancer type that I had, if there wasn't a clinical trial, I wouldn't be here right now. Because it was one of those that back then, you didn't survive it.
Yeah.
So having those clinical trials, and in our community, we're so strong that sometimes we weak.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah,
because we don't want to take the time out to actually take care of ourselves,
and we have to. We have to.
Absolutely have to. Now, has there ever been a time where people seen whether you were at a grocery store or you were somewhere, and someone just looked at you and said, "You're fine," or "You shouldn't be where you're supposed to be at"?
Oh, this happened to me. God, must have been like maybe 6 months ago.
Oh, so recently.
Recently.
Okay, tell us about it.
I was at Trader Joe's here in Raleigh, and I won't say which location, but I pulled into handicap spot, and I'm sitting there and I'm trying to get myself together to get out of the car, and the lady in the car sitting next to me is like pointing at the handicap sign, and I'm like, okay.
And I haven't even gotten
out the car. I'm still in the car. I haven't put my placard up yet, and I'm in the car, and I'm trying to figure out what she's trying to tell me, and that's when it dawns on me, and I'm like, oh, she's trying to tell me I shouldn't be in this parking space because I don't look like I should be in this parking space. I haven't gotten out of the car yet. You don't know if I have a walker. You don't know if I have a cane. You don't know what I got. And
you're just a black woman.
I'm just a black woman, young. At least I like to think I look young.
Yes, you do.
Sitting in there and waiting on her, waiting to get out of the car, and she's trying to tell me that I shouldn't be there. And so I'm opening my door to get out, and it's a couple walking up, and they said, she's trying to tell you you're in a handicap spot. I said, I know exactly where I am. Thank you very much. Could you mind your business?
Yes.
Because just because you can't see it and I look like I'm okay, doesn't mean that I'm okay.
Yeah.
And it was really interesting to me because I'm like, it's like going to Whole Foods and Trader Joe's. I expect these hippies, they're going to be hippies and they're peace-loving people. And I'm like, I would think that what about how I look would make you think I would take a handicap spot from somebody?
And you haven't even had a chance to put the placard up. And it wasn't just one. It was one. And then it was two more.
Yeah.
And so when you got out of that car, how did that make you feel?
It was mixed emotions. It's like, so is it because I look good, or is it because they think this is something that somebody that looks like me would do? And I mean, even if I go into a grocery store parking lot and they've got like a placard up there that says veterans only or expecting moms, I'm like, if I can't find a handicap spot, I will pull somewhere else. I still won't take those spots because they're not for me.
Yeah.
I'm okay with whatever's for me, and I'm considerate and I'm thoughtful. And so, yeah, it was just kind of like, I was mad.
You gave them grace.
I did. I was mad. And, but that's people.
That's people. And when you're looking at redefining who you are, because people are always like, oh, the new normal. I was fine with the normal I had before you told me what was going on. So when you were redefining what life looks like for you, and you can do that through faith, support, and your daily living, what does that look like? How has your days changed as far as having faith in when these legs are not moving, when these hands are not the same? And some people say, you know what, if you have faith, you shouldn't worry. And I want to say, well, let me go ahead and slice you up and dice you up and put you through all this radiation and chemotherapy, and then you can tell me about that. So you can have faith, but there can still be something going on with you that you have no control over. How do you deal with that? How does that faith support and being strong, what strong looks like for you? How do you work with that?
One of the things that I have to give my husband credit, which I really don't like to do that, but I'll give him credit for this one. He allows me to be upset about it, mourn about it, and, cry about it. And he always says, okay, you can be here, but you can't stay here. So what do you do next? How do you get out of that feeling? If you don't like the way you feel, then how can you change that? And so for me, it's been having that support, having my friend who calls me every morning to make sure I'm down the stairs and out the house. And every day, just to make sure every day that he's not home, just to make sure that I'm moving. So I have that support. And then I really started working out a lot when I first got diagnosed because I'm home. I'm like, there's no excuse.
Yeah.
And so I love the treadmill. So we bought a Peloton treadmill and I started doing the classes and really just became really excited about making sure that I kept my body moving. I'm like, I got to keep moving because I feel like when you start to slow down, the depression is going to sink in,
Yes.
self-loathing is going to sink in, you're going to become more and more angry. And I'm like, how can I get this energy out? Because I can't move like I want to.
Yeah.
So that was a huge help. And then I progressed to like the bike and I'm strength training.
Oh, I
and
love that old Peloton.
I love the bike.
I've had that bike right when it was a Kickstarter, and then everybody got it during COVID. But I've had it for a very long time.
I love the bike.
So you do have your support group. It just doesn't look like the ones where you're sitting in the circle. You know, my first support group I went to, oh boy, absolutely not.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness. And I thought it was the one that I needed to be at, but I was 36 when I was diagnosed. And most people who were at these support groups were over 60. So it wasn't the right one. And the right one was an active one, the Young Survivor Coalition. And there I met my tribe. I met my people. I met people who looked like me. I met people who were in the same situation as far as being young and dealing with that diagnosis. And then I also had my own group outside of that, which means it's my husband, my family members, my twin sister. So I had to look at support in different ways. But I, you know, like you said, we don't want to give them all the kudos, but they are there, right?
Oh yeah,
because we're not the only one going through this.
Yeah. And they get to see the ugliest part of it.
Oh my goodness.
They get to see the worst part of it. And I'm like, I would be nauseous and I'd be throwing up everywhere and because my equilibrium was off. It made me dizzy constantly when I had my big flare. And he had to be there for all of that. He had to clean all that up. And he was nicer than I probably could have been because it was a lot. And
yeah.
It went on for about a month because we were waiting for insurance to kick in to allow me to take the Ocrevus. So this was a whole month of me being out of work and me not being able to walk fully and trying to figure out why am I so sick and why, you know, this isn't just medication withdrawal. It's the medication withdrawal and it's the symptoms flaring up even more. And so, yeah, it's having that support system. My friend April came and she would stay with me and sit with me and just be there. My aunt, my mom's baby sister, came and stayed with me and was there for me and kind of supported the two of us.
Yes,
you know, and
they need support too.
Yeah. I mean, at the time, my dad was having a kidney transplant in Chicago, so I couldn't go with him. I was supposed to be his support person for that. And it was just like everything happened all at one time. My brother was in the hospital at the same time. He had a brain bleed, so he was on life support. And all of it is like from November to February, everything just happened at one time.
Because life is going to go on regardless if you're diagnosed with a disease or not.
And we don't know if the stress, since that's what triggers mine anyway, if the stress of all of those things, and when I'm the support person for everybody, and then all of a sudden my body's like, nope, sit down.
And they still expect you to be the support person because you're still walking around. You're still working.
You're fine. Yeah.
So you're going to be just fine.
Yeah.
Well, we're going to take one more quick break and we're going to come back and we're going to wrap this thing up, but we're going to ask some questions that I like the good, the bad, and the ugly because that's what our loved ones see. The ones that are at home with us. So that's what they see. So we'll be right back after this break.
This one's for all of our speakers, thought leaders, and influencers. I'm Bro Troy, and if you're a speaker, influencer, or thought leader and you don't have a video brand, you are leaving money on the table. All event planners and those that are looking for hosts and facilitators, they don't just want to hear you, they want to see you in action. Your presence, your energy, and your ability to command a room. That's why a strong speaker reel, high quality event footage, and consistent short form content are non-negotiables. Your video brand is your digital resume. It proves your authority before you even step on stage. See, we help speakers build that brand with clean reels, dynamic storytelling, and content that gets you booked. If you're ready to level up your speaker career, reach out to Broco TV Productions today and let us build your video brand one piece of high quality content at a time.
Now, I know that we've been talking and we've been going back and forth. Is there anything that you have not said or you would like to say about what I keep calling the invisible disease? Because I want people to know that just because you can't see the person having the flares doesn't mean it's not happening, because it's a mental, physical I mean, it is tough to get up in the morning.
Mhm.
And sometimes it's tough to go to sleep at night because you still got to get up in the morning because life keeps happening.
Mhm.
And if you have something where you know that stress causes that, how do you deal with that? And how would you say someone who is newly diagnosed, how should they go? What's some advice that you would give to them?
I would tell people, like, don't be afraid to make sure that you are taking care of yourself. Don't be afraid to share that with your friends and your family. Meditation is a huge thing. I do it all the time. I meditate. Peloton has meditations on their app. But there's tons of places where you can do meditation, guided meditations, and that helps me to center a little bit. And sometimes I do it at night. Sometimes I do it in the morning before I go to work. But the main thing that I want people to understand is that just because you can't see it doesn't mean it doesn't exist. Don't be afraid to go to the doctor. Don't be afraid to listen to your doctors and do what they ask you to do, because that's really going to make the difference. That's one of the things that I get advice all the time. Hey, have you thought about doing this instead because it's better than taking medication? No, because I am not a neurologist and neither are you.
Yes.
And so I love my neurologist. I feel like she's been an amazing support system. She's been communicative and like I can talk to her. And so find somebody that you trust, find a doctor that you trust, and don't be afraid to tell your family when you just can't.
Yeah.
No is a complete sentence.
Oh my goodness.
No is a complete sentence.
That is no is a complete sentence.
Mm-hmm.
I can say no and you can understand that my no means no.
No. Yeah. I don't owe anybody any explanation. I only owe an explanation to take care of myself. I owe myself that. And don't feel like it's selfish, because self-care is not selfish.
Oh my goodness.
It's really not.
I love that first of all, thank you. Thank you for sharing. Thank you for picking up. Thank you for saying yes. And I know this is not the last time that we're going to talk about this, because you have touched on some things that even in our community, we shy away from. We think if we're down, then we're weak. But I am strong because I'm taking care of myself.
Yes.
And no is a complete sentence.
Yes.
So, Miss Erica, I would like to thank you so much. And we have to understand that some battles are visible, others are fought quietly and every single day. But here on Chemo Glow, we believe that something is powerful. You have to remember that the glow doesn't define me. I define the glow. And girl, your glow is everything. So to everyone watching, remember, resilience shines brightest when we share our stories. And thank you so much for sharing your story.
Thank you for having me.
This is Chemo Glow. See you next time.